Okay. Sunday. The odd dreams don't linger, thankfully. But with the morning comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my tastes. And I have very fine tastes. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reaches even the bedroom, I'm very inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporary. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it is going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Ugh. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intended on getting in my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
I'm trying to remember who's at the front door.
This is Zach.
Is it?
Yeah.
In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet, for fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With the mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how long Hana's patience with me will last after the incident at the party. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hana will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him, after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, is she? What she doesn't know.
You! Again! It's bloody 6 in the morning! What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time! Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't!
This is still my home. My rules also apply to this place as much as Hana's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. Some nonsense about the news lately, though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves and silence once again fills the room, as it should. In hindsight...
Are we going to hear the scream? Know what caused the scream that made Zach climb in the window?
Maybe I should also call for psychiatric services? He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds? Nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worse, Johans will take care of it if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand, a hangover. Maybe I'll have some absinthe to temper it.
And there you go. That's how Archer handles his hangovers.
Dog hairs. Or some wine to help me get back to sleep. It's still early, 1 glass won't hurt. Or 2. Whatever the case, I need to think, whatever that will lead me to. He never even hung anything up on the wall there.
Nope, just a space where a mirror once was.
It's nothing. Everything leads to nothing. Except for this pounding headache, as if my mind will burst at any time and leak out of my ears. My vision swims in and out of view. My stomach threatens rebellion with plans of making me throw up what remains of the food I've taken in last night. With how my mouth feels, you'll assume it's filled with cotton. One would think the fact that I'm hungover would make me the grumpiest person in the room. Well. But as soon as Shroken knocks and enters the room, the thought goes right out the window, and I can only follow when he gestures towards hallway. I have questions as to why he would bother me at this hour in the morning. But going by the grim, or rather, grimmer than usual air about him, it must be something serious. The man stands there as relaxed and cool as can be, but his eyes hold an intensity that promises nothing but trouble.
I do hope I wasn't interrupting anything.
Well, I have plans. Sleeping in is one of them, too. But apparently, the world conspires against me. What do you want?
If you wish to sleep so badly, feel free to tuck yourself back in bed. But I thought you ought to know that we've had an intruder.
And sue me if that doesn't pique my curiosity. Intruders, thieves who would dare set foot into my house and try and rob me, were rare. If they had any form of experience, they'd have an idea not to mess with the rights, no matter how tempting our riches may be. But that did not mean attempted robberies did not happen. What was strange about this one is the fact that Johans thought it important to bring to my attention. Oftentimes, they'd deal with pests because I wouldn't really care how they take care of it, so...
This needs my attention, why? Are they any danger?
Actually, I think I'll let you be the judge of that. He's down in the parlor. Come on.
I glance at the bedroom door, hoping to goodness that Hana will remain fast asleep, before following him downstairs. Through the foyer, and into the parlor where a familiar man sits unconscious, tied up to one of the chairs.
I thought I heard something scurrying around. As it turns out, it's a giant rat. And one that had pretended to be a harmless mouse, too.
It's that black man. The one who called himself a friend of Hana's. I'm not sure if I should be surprised or not. To think he would be caught trying to, no doubt, rob me blind. It's a bit disappointing. I thought I'd be proven wrong in my assumptions. He is a gollywog, after all. But the man had seemed the serene, if nervous sort when I met him. He had seemed an honest, good-natured man, though his friendliness with my wife irked me to no end.
And he's still alive, isn't he?
It's hard to tell, with the way his body is too still, breathes too light. But it is there, the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Its presence lets me breathe a sigh of relief. A death caused by one of my men is normal. To be expected, really. A dead body I can deal with. It'll just be the one of many I've seen. But if one turns up while the missus is at home, I'm not too thrilled with the idea.
I saw no reason to do more than incapacitate him. So yes, the man is still alive. Of course, that can be remedied if you wish.
No, this is fine. He wasn't trying to kill us, was he?
If he was wholly unprepared. But I do not think he had such nefarious purposes. He is a big man, but he seems too soft to be a hired killer. A common trespasser or petty thief, maybe. Certainly nothing more.
If a petty thief dares to try anything against me, people are forgetting their place. He's to be made an example of. A guy slacks off for once and everyone thinks they can get away with taking advantage. His thieving ways is going to be his one-way ticket behind bars. It's only as my anger washes away that I realize that the sun is starting to rise off into the horizon. And I can only feel annoyance at myself for missing another night of sleep.
Call the police then. Let them round him up and bring me some bloody coffee while you're at it.
Thankfully, he leaves me to my own simmering as I take one of the free seats. And while waiting for my drink, I find myself staring at this man. I can see why Hana took an interest in him.
I was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Hana is nice, but that doesn't mean she befriended every John and Jane from the street.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Look at the man you called a perfect gentleman now, dearest.
Look, Luke, nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
A friend who takes advantage of someone who has shown them kindness. Truly, such soft hearts could not survive in this world for long. Hana is only so lucky that I am here for her. Who better to protect her from monsters than the worst of them all? And as it always does when I'm in such a situation, the power I wield hits me like an unnatural high. It's something else when I can hold a man's life in my own hand without resorting to murder. A person is as good as incarcerated the moment I send them Harvey's way. And this makes me wonder if I can make luxury living grovel, beg for my forgiveness because of the crime committed against me by one of their staff. Deep in my thoughts, stuck in this power trip that rushes through me, I barely notice we have company until Johannes puts a cup of coffee in my hands.
Officer Karl and his colleague are here to collect. They'll want your statement.
And as he says, there are 2 officers by the door. Though I can't even bother to spare them the slightest of glance before looking back at the unconscious gollywog.
If they need my statement, I'll give it to their chief. I'm due a visit to a good friend anyway.
After my coffee and a bit of breakfast, of course. Once I'm done breaking my fast, and after a cool shower, I call for Johannes to drive me to the police station so that I can give my statement. Through it all, Hana still slumbers, sleeping off whatever illness has taken her. The ride to the precinct is a quiet affair. I'm in no mood for idle chatter with what little sleep I've had. Not everything is smooth sailing, however, as soon as I arrive at the precinct either. But as they say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It would be more suspicious if everything had gone on without ruckus. And it would be more boring, too. Because who doesn't love a good fight and a bit of drama? There's nothing quite like beating your opponent down and making them learn who's the boss. If life just slumped over, there would be no point in even trying, but I would be much happier if the troubles life threw at me didn't include ruining my suit. Life, in this case, is that estate agent Lily, who had the audacity to throw water at me.
You bloody...
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Who even does that? That third world country woman who's gotten too big for her britches. That's who. Dang. How do you think this is? This is a Zeton X5? And this whole ensemble cost me 40,000 pounds. I could charge her for water damages to the tie alone and have her begging down on her knees for my forgiveness. That Lily girl, really now? If I hadn't heard that the company she works for is closing, I'd talk to her manager and have her fired. A graceful exit into the police's chief's room was all I could muster in the face of such insult. My mood is further soured by the fact that I can still see the rest of the precinct from here. At the very least, Johannes is making himself useful and standing outside the door to make sure no one enters unannounced. And now here I am, dabbing a handkerchief at my wet suit, to no avail. It'd have to be given to one of the maids to clean as soon as I get home. This is just horrible. The interlining is going to pucker and pull. Ugh.
Ha! We got him.
But at least it's not wine, I suppose.
I am so sorry about what happened out there, mates. But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate. But I didn't come here to talk about these hot-headed daft villains. They could be dead from the neck up for all I care.
He has the propensity to forget one tiny detail. I own him. I want to seethe and rage, remind him who exactly the boss is here. I very well can, thanks to the wonders of soundproofing. But the stressed and nervous expression on his face stops me from giving him a tongue lashing. It would really do me no good to be at odds with him when he does prove to be a useful ally from time to time. So I listen when he speaks, focusing on the smell of coffee and cigarettes that filled the room in order to curb my tongue. For now. But boy, when you let a man like Harvey Lee speak, he speaks a lot.
Look, all I'm asking is that you be a bit patient with them.
Patient.
You do realize a good chunk of them don't work. They aren't with you, so to speak. Bunch of kids who think the police are superheroes or some cock and bull. They don't know how things work around here. Especially that Frey boy. The lot of them are just tired.
And why are you telling me this?
I was going to ask you if you knew anything about it. Perhaps one of yours know. There's been a string of unfortunate incidents as of late. Just recently, some bloke named Christian Sai was acting all nuts. Off his rocker, that man. And we had to hold him, thought he was drunk. Up until he started bashing his brains in. Now he's a vegetable in a hospital bed. Another time, some Mark Julius was reported missing. Some are thinking we've got a serial killer on our hands as of late. That Cooper lady from BRC got done in, and a Father Norman, too.
Oh, he's dead.
You have to understand, mate, in a place as peaceful as Luxburn, this makes people wary. Reported crime rates go a bit higher than usual, and it makes them antsy and temperamental.
Are you implying that I have anything to do with them? Because as much as I hate to say it and admit, I am out of the loop. This is the first I've heard of these incidents.
Good point to pause.
Really, I'd say I'm insulted, but this is par for the course. Harvey knows who and what I am. We have a deal of sorts, after all. Crime is always expected in a society with laws and with humans who are allowed their free will. But why not strike a deal with the devil to make sure that said crime has some order, at least?
Ah, well, that's a shame, I suppose. Figured if we could get any leads, it'd be from you.
I can't stop the scoff that leaves me. Can these police officers really be so incompetent? The chief of the damn police force seems to find it amusing, however. Because as far as I can see, whether he believes it or not, he's got it easy in our little deal. He just has to sit back and relax, let me do my thing and not turn against me while he gets to live a comfy life. But perhaps that's why I haven't killed him off yet. His predecessor to the position wasn't so agreeable.
You know, someday I'll stop turning in my own men when they piss me off. And what will you do then? You and your men will all be lost without me.
I'll just hope that when the time comes, I'll already be all wrinkly and retired then.
It's a play of his. It always is. To act all casual and chuckling at everything, like it doesn't faze him. Pretends he's on one of those kind, wise old men types so that people can't bring themselves to be angry at him. But I've seen him drunk off his arse, bemoaning his fate, what he's become. Though he tries to be as vague as he can, even in his inebriated state. And I've seen the malice this man is capable of. That's why it confuses me with how he reacts to what I say next.
So what is our little gollywog looking at?
Now, there's never a time or place for that kind of racist talk, son.
What have I been saying?
I don't know.
I don't know! He cuts me off in a firm tone before I can say anything further. There is steel in his eyes, and he nears slam his fist on the table when he does.
Like that.
And I can't help but sigh, realizing that he's going through one of his self-righteous streaks, rare as they may be.
You know our little deal ties up my hands when it comes to a lot of things with you. But I hear that Steele is a good kid, and I ask you at least show a bit of respect.
He's a felon. I think I'm entitled to call him what I please. I don't owe him any respect at all.
In my pocket, he may be. But he still chose the path of the policeman himself when he was a young man. And I bet it just boils his blood that he has to deal with the likes of me. But I, in turn, hate this side of him that makes him think he's still some do-gooder, some hero of justice. Because spineless fools were useful. Self-righteous ones forced me to do away with them eventually.
You put plenty of your own white men in jail. I don't see you calling them a white cracker or whatever lingo they have nowadays.
So,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of... It is really sad that Zach has died in our playthrough, but it seems to me that the direction that Zach's death is a good development for Harvey Lee's redemption as a corrupt cop. That's my thought.
So
Okay.
it has some other meaning, but that's the definition that came up.
Okay. Well, I'm looking at
The image.
the definition that you've gotten here, and it's, I think, the blackface references are the why they say that's racist.
Apparently, it's a type of rag doll, usually depicted as a type of rag doll
Mm-hmm.
from a children's book. It's terrifying in these drawings, though. Holy cow. Those eyes. Anyways.
Anyway,
And if not respect, you can at least owe the lad some basic human decency.
Whatever. But if you gotta stick up your ass about it, I'll concede. He's going behind bars either way, for however long that is.
Besides, what does it matter if he's black or white? The color of his skin doesn't change anything about current circumstances. It's a trifle matter to argue over.
It's 6 months and a fine worth 5,000 for breaking and entering. Unless you'd be willing to go easy on the guy. Let him bump it down to a misdemeanor and juvenile offense. We'll be giving him probation and charge him for the damages.
And that's it?
That's it. That's what a white man gets, and that's what he gets too. Unless you're going to stir up a fuss and make a big deal out of this.
In case you've forgotten, I do what I want, Lee. I don't even see why you protect the man. He's nothing but a petty thief.
And won't that look bad on you? The Luke Wright, getting his panties in a bunch over a petty thief. You said it yourself. He's nothing. Not worth your attention or effort. So why don't you just let me handle it like I'm supposed to?
And I do hate to say it, but he's got me there. I hate that all this power comes with a great balancing act. Be too lax and people will think they could get away with the smallest of things. Be too harsh and people will... Well, they'll not want to work with me for long, and that's never a good thing in the long term. And it shows on me poorly if I were to fuss over such an insignificant little maggot.
Now is that all you're here for?
Well, there's another thing I want to ask.
What? Can't I visit a friend? That detective. Feathers. Should I be concerned about him? He seemed keen.
Feathers? Oh, you mean Frey? Nah, he's not really anything to worry about. I got him assigned to your case to make the whole thing believable. The boy's a good detective, one of the best I have on the force. But he won't be able to do shit with all the red tape tying him up. In fact, the higher-ups just took him off your tail.
The case against me? I still have one? Harvey, my dear old friend, have you been slacking off? Surely I told you to take care of that sort of thing. Surely it shouldn't have taken you this long. Surely it should be quiet by now on your end. They shouldn't be assigning anything to what's supposed to be a cold case.
I doubt you've got anything to really worry about unless you go out there and announce the shit you've done. They don't want to accuse the most powerful man in Luxburn without being 100% sure about things, of course.
The way he goes about it so nonchalantly.
But it's because of that company problem Suarez been talking about. Can't believe that's still a thing. You think the geek would have figured it out by now? He's supposed to be a computer genius. Don't go blaming me for it. He's the one slacking off if you ask me. Don't you be pointing fingers my way.
And has Suarez mentioned anything new about that?
You'd have to ask him about it. You know I don't understand half the technical computer mumbo-jumbo the guy goes on about. It's like the guy speaks a whole other language. Which, technically he does, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I suppose you have a point. Very well, if you haven't got anything else useful for me, I might as well head home. Get some bloody peace and quiet.
I could have some tea. Maybe with some whiskey and a nap, and I'll be right as rain. At least one of us should get some good R&R, because it looks like Harvey isn't going to get any. Not with the commotion that started up outside the room. From inside the office, we can both clearly see something's come up. And opening the door lets the din of the place flood in with officers going about and phones ringing up the storm.
Looks like your children are in need of their minder, Harvey. Whatever could this be?
What in blazes is going on here? What's that fucking fire?
There's been a jumper, Chief.
Some guy. It is utter madness as callers ring in all about it. A jumper in Luxburn? If I weren't so tired, I'd given it more interest. Besides, going by what the officers on the phones are saying, it's probably far too late for the poor soul. Oh. They've already gone splat, and all lines are clogged with the distressed and the busybodies. It's not every day you hear about such things in this city. Or at least it's not every day I hear about a jumper that I haven't caused. As if on cue, Harvey glances my way with a tight expression on his face. And I have to shake my head at him to say no, this one isn't mine, before I leave him to his pets. Stepping out from the chaos, I let in a breath of fresh air, or as fresh as it's going to get in a city. I do hate going to the precinct. It's a fucking zoo filled with animals, people whose step included. But it's not like the city is any better. Humans are just a higher form of animals, after all. But we all delude ourselves into thinking otherwise. And I call up the car to take me away from it all. Oh, he didn't even see that it was her.